So here, this is the white gold. This is why there's a great wall here in Stone. We might do a few breaks on the way because I don't know how it looks on the footage, but trust me, in real life, this is steep.
I am not resting, okay? Just waiting for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Stone is known for is the best oysters in Croatia. So out here, they basically have the oyster farm. Also, some of them I think a little bit up there. You also have a lot of fertile land here, so a lot of vegetables. I just learned also a lot of strawberries are grown here. 1,621. Yeah. Hi everyone. Today we are in Stone on Pelješac. And today we have a lot of walking to do. We are gonna visit the Great Wall of Europe. And we are gonna walk that one and of course film our walk around. And we're gonna tell you a little bit about why there's the wall here when we have a walk. Last time I was here, I walked up there straight here, but today we are gonna go to a fortress over here which is called Arcimun, and we're gonna start our trip there. And then we're gonna basically come back to this place here and do the walk up the steep one and cross the mountain here or the hill and end up in Mali Ston, which is the other city which belongs, now we're in Stone, and then there's Mali Ston on the other side of the hill. And then we're gonna walk back here, explore the town a little bit. We're gonna visit the salt pans, which is very important to Stone's history. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about that later. And maybe we find a few other things which are interesting. So let's get going. And Stone is of course not a big town. It has around 500 people living here in Stone, and in Mali Ston on the other side there's around 140 people I think. So small places, but a lot of people visit here because of course finding a wall and interesting history like here, you don't have many places. And now we have just been spending the last 8 days down in Dubrovnik, so we thought we were gonna film Stone on the way back. And you know, sun stayed away, and I'm actually quite happy about that because once we have to crawl the wall, not having a lamp, you know, protecting, I don't know how many degrees on your head, it's gonna be quite good. There was five fortresses in connection with the wall, and we're going to one of the fortresses which is called Arcimun, and that's where we're gonna enter. Where I pointed in the beginning, that's probably the one which most people use as the main entrance. And then there's of course an entrance in Mali Ston if you want to start your trip there. But there's no obligation to crawl the big part of the wall. So what we are doing here in the beginning is probably what most people would prefer. Open from 8 to 19. Entrance tickets, 10 euro, kids 5 euro. So the inflation here in Stone has been very limited because last time was 5-6 years ago since I crawled the wall, and that time it was 8 euro, so reasonable increase. I think this is actually 100% perfect. You know it's bad when you look up and it always almost hurt your neck because of the angle. This top part seems new. Okay, that was some small cannons they had. I mean, the enemies, if they would see those, they would think, you know, nothing bad is gonna happen to us. Well, if I'm not speaking in the video, there's a reason. It's called stairs. So I might need to have a few, you know, timeouts. So, the first interesting point we come to is don't enter because it's dangerous. So, the wall today preserved 5.5 kilometers. Originally it was planned 7 kilometers. Part of the wall here goes up to a fortress, and as you can see, there's skeletons, renovation work. So that part you can of course not visit. It also looks way too steep for normal people to walk up. So I think it's good.
That is not open.
Yeah, it's not open. I think it's very good. Because I know the one we have to go up, that's more than enough for 99% of the people. If they had that one also, you know, horrible. So now we reach one of the towers. There was originally 40 towers. Today there's 20 towers back and left on the wall. Why the wall is here? You see the wide area out there? This is salt pans. In the end of the 15th century, beginning of the 16th century, in general in that time, salt was called white gold because you needed salt to preserve food for, you know, people living in the cities, for people going out sailing. You needed to salt meat and all stuff. So it was called white gold. It was very valuable. And as Dubrovnik Republic became the rulers here, they simply wanted to protect the salt pans. So the wall, they built the wall to basically protect against attacks from the mainland. We're going to add a card so you can basically understand we're on a half island, and Stone here with the hills is basically one you have to enter to get on the rest of the half island, and that's why the wall was very, very important. So they paid 12,000 gold pieces or ducats to build the wall, which was a lot of money that time, but the income from the salt was 16,000 a year, which was 1/3 of the whole income of the Dubrovnik Republic from taxes and all the stuff. The salt brought 1/3 of the income. So it was very, very important to keep this protected. And that's why they built the wall and basically got this protected. And with the wall came Stone and Mali Ston, the settlements or the villages. They basically were moved to where the wall started and ended, or started, yeah, whatever you call it. And the salt pans are the oldest still operating in Europe. So we're going to visit them later, so you can kind of get an idea how that looks on close up. But of course we have more wall to walk, so we just started. So let's get going. This might be a little bit deceiving because you see it's going down, and you're right, it's far too early for going down, but it's actually correct when we take this small tour from the Arcimun fortress. Then you are basically going down towards the main entrance in Stone before you hit the really serious climb. Stone is located in this flat land where you can do this with producing the salt. You also have a lot of fertile land here, so a lot of vegetables. I just learned also a lot of strawberries are grown here simply because the land is fertile. And you actually have an endemic turtle here. So if you like turtles, you can go on turtle hunt, not to, you know, do something bad to them, but just to see it. Boy, I saw the little wall of horror is to our left. And here you can easily see the main entrance, the house down there, or the tower. And you have a stair coming up from the main street. This is where you can also enter the wall system. Wow. So now we can really see the towers lined up. First flag, you have a flag on each tower. And yeah, we might do a few breaks on the way because it is steep. I don't know how it looks on the footage, but trust me, in real life, this is steep. And although we were on a training camp, 8 days in the Dubrovnik area, walked a lot of stairs, this is taking it a notch up, definitely. And I would say no flip-flops. But man, this is just torture on steroids. They got a cable car in Dubrovnik, couldn't they? Learn a little bit from that here in Ston. So everything was, because it was constructed by the Dubrovnik Republic, the idea of it making this, the way the wall is done, also the way the villages are constructed, was to make kind of a mini Dubrovnik. So you have the same patron saint, you have the rector's palace, the one which was in charge of Dubrovnik. He has a palace when he comes here, and of course the shape of the wall was kind of intended to be similar to the way the wall in Dubrovnik is constructed, just in a much larger format in terms of length.
I am not resting, okay? Just waiting for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, by some miracle, we more or less, I think we're at the top now. So now it's mostly even. What we're going to walk before we have the decline in, descent in Mali Ston. But from here, it's maybe good to see. You see, you have the hill over there, and the small valley, or what you would call it, down here is basically where attackers would have to come in, and that's why the wall was very important that it went all the way around. So, you know, there was plenty of options to send something down to them, which was not Christmas present, but probably something from metal, so that the salt pans could be protected. Now we can see the salt pans out there, and also stone. They definitely are protecting it so that nobody does a dive. And here we can see the fortress in Mali Ston. That one, a huge part of it has been renovated. Last time I was here 6 years ago, all was, most of it at the outer end was covered in what you call skeletons. So this is a fresh day's exercise, a fresh one. If you do this, I think then you can go back home, put your feet up, and hope that something cold will hit the table next to you. No, I think about photos up there on the top, and if you had to run around, bring stuff up, probably they were using donkeys, I would assume. Going up and down here, it's for anyone, also the donkeys, basically. Torture. The financing of this was done by Dubrovnik to protect income from salt. Actually, the Great Wall in China was also in large part built from revenues coming from salt, because that was simply what was from very high value at that time. Well, you did well. Almost there.
Yes.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to go up there. We just want to go down now. That one would be, no thanks. So the fortress we're going to end up with down here, the one which I said has been renovated, is Koruna Fortress. And the other two, one was completely at the top. But anyway, when we look out here, so as I said in the beginning, stone is known for the wall, it's known for the salt. But the third thing stone is known for is the best oysters in Croatia. So out here, they basically have the oyster farm. Also, some of them, I think, a little bit up there. So everywhere in stone, but especially in Mali Ston, oysters, fish, is this what is mainly on the menu. Actually, it was damn tough going up, but it's a little bit more scary going down, I would say. You need to be very careful. No, but also because they have different heights, so you don't kind of get a rhythm. They have different lengths, so you definitely should hold on while you are going down here. The last flag on our trip, which means we are close to the end. So here, totally narrow steps and not very high. And before, kind of a little bit the opposite. This race, what they have here in September, where you can race over the wall. I couldn't find any time, but it's an American male who did the fast time and a British female who did the fastest time for women. I don't know what the time is, but just racing over here, with how dangerous it is walking here. Oh, the water we can see out here, is still the water between the mainland and the peninsula we're on, but you don't have to go far in that direction. Then the peninsula connects to the mainland. So this was basically while they would come from this way, protect it, make sure there's salt for the meat in Dubrovnik. Okay, but it's gonna be nice once they finish this. We did this. We did this. We made it. Okay. I almost thought we were done with these things here, but apparently not. They keep, following us no matter where we go. Here's the parking. Let's go through the whole town. Now we are in Mali Ston. Just to see how it looks like here. As I mentioned earlier, around 130, 40 people live here. So you also saw from the wall, tiny place. Nevertheless, it's very well visited, not only in the summer, but there's guests coming here the whole year because it has a few very well-known restaurants down at the sea. One of them I've been to a few times, called Kapetanova kuća. And of course, the reason you eat here is fish, oysters, mussels, those kind of dishes. neat old stone constructions here. Also not sure if it was from that time or it came later, but I think this over there is a hotel. Out there you have another tower. You can see the wall here. But I think the orange parts here, this is basically what we are standing in front of now, the wall here. And this going over here, that was all part of the fortification or wall system covering Stone and Mali Ston, the Great Wall of Europe. And it took us, let me just check 1 second, because I think I took a photo at the beginning with the timestamp on. Yeah, I think it took us around about an hour to get here. And we took several stops on the way because of the heat. I think, as far as I recall, when I did it last time, I did it in about 50 minutes, but there was a difference. It was not 27, 28 degrees. It was like 15 or something like that. It was in the fall. So temperature makes a slight difference. It's the end of the wall. So there's not much more to Mali Ston except the oysters and the restaurants. And we're gonna go down here, one of the restaurants, and that's the one I've been to several times, Kapetanova kuća. And the next one, Botasare. I think both of them are equally good. This was just the one I was introduced to the first. So plan a lunch. If you go to Stone, come with a car, or if you're with a group, I think it's mostly always included. But if you come with a car yourself, make sure to think about having a lunch here, so time it like that. And maybe after you climb the wall, because I think if you have the lunch before, you're not gonna climb the wall. So I think with the stone walls in the background here in Mali Ston, we're gonna cut for now, and we're gonna see you back in Stone. Now we're gonna walk along the main road to get back to Stone, because we have no intention crawling the wall one more time, just that you know. So see you a bit later. So now we had a refill with the energy, and we'll continue exploring Stone, and we are now going to the best preserved fortress. It's called, I think, Veliko Kaštio, or the Great Castle, which was the main castle or fortress for the inner defense, probably what you would say the last resort in case some of the bad guys managed to get past the wall system. And the ticket you buy for the wall also is valid over here, so make sure to keep it on you. Because they're not connected, as you can see.
Okay, good.
Ja, Vala Vampuno. So the question is, where does this start? Should we have a look inside here first? They had a well, so I wonder, probably there was some housing option here. So the bad guys managed to come all the way in between the two hills. The wall didn't help. This was the last line of defense, together with the other fortress over there. That was basically how you kept the salt pans on your part of the game. Amazing. But I think nobody ever conquered any of this. The Dubrovnik Republic, you know, when that one ended, it became, you know, was it Austria-Hungary? France was there shortly. So they probably just took the full package. Yeah, and here you can really see this was what they protected. Salt pads, 58 of them, producing, I can't recall, it's an enormous amount of salt. And the cannon is that corner, that makes no sense. Ah. So they actually used stone as cannonballs. Okay, interesting. You remember when we were at Fortress St. Nicola? the UNESCO one, and that they had these openings from downstairs, which was because if they fired a cannon further down, it gave so much smoke, so they needed these ventilation things to get rid of it. So maybe it was similar. Okay, that's a decent size of cannon. Decent size. 1621. Yeah. So that was quite a bit later, because the wall end of 14th century and beginning of 15th. Don't hang me up on that, but many years ago, let's put it like that. Well, what we have left now is we're gonna explore the Stone Town a little bit. It's very small, but we're just gonna walk through the street so you have an idea how that looks like. And after that, we're gonna go to the salt pans, where we're gonna have a little bit closer look why it paid out to, invest so much money and build this wall because of some salt. So, see you in a bit. So now we came back and we are down in the old town of Stone, and we're just gonna walk a little bit through the streets to see how they look like. Also lots of stone houses here. Well, they have rent a bike. Unfortunately, going on the wall, that's not gonna help you. But totally other architecture than, many other Croatian towns, you have actually a wide street here for walking. The houses are, pretty, in a straight line. So what do you have down here? Restaurants also. With a courtyard here. What do we say? Are we just gonna do the price test? Chicken.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. 13, yeah. I think up here, I don't know if there's a street up here. Let's have a look. But a lot of restaurants hidden in the street here. Let's go up and then see if we can go to the right. Okay, that one is nicely renovated. Houses who needs a loving hand. So if anybody out there feel like doing a project, I think this street offers a few opportunities. Konova, Maestra. Oh. Really nice. I think there's a lot of groups coming here with buses and stuff. Probably a lot of the tours, which has lunch included and stuff, they go to these restaurants in the streets here. I mean, it's a small town, so there's not much to see, but it's just to give you an idea how it looks like. Just gonna go over here. Fotolandia. I just wanted to check this building over here. Found it quite nice. Wall, fortress. That's kind of, what the whole town is about. Stone Town village, mostly restaurants. There's not more to it. All of it mainly old stone houses. So here, this is the white gold. This is why there's a great wall here in Stone. It's because of white salt. Amazing. So, the process of this is evaporation. So it's basically seawater coming in, sun drying up, and then leaves the salt. So when they harvest it, but basically they would scrape it off. It would be, one of the plots are ready. They simply scrape it up, and I think it's between Don't hang me up, I'm gonna put in the right number on the screen, but I think it's between 30 and 100 tons every time they harvest a plot. I'm pretty sure that's the number. So the harvesting period is from July till September, but the main part is in August, and they have some kind of camp which is organized here, so if you want to volunteer, they have some program that you can come down here and help with the harvest. You get accommodation if you stay here more days, and I think you also get food and drinks. You will have to contact them to get exactly the details of the program, but basically there is definitely an option to come down and try being a salt harvester during the summer. And then there's also a salt festival taking place in Ston, of course, because everything is about salt, where all kinds of stuff happening here in the city, and I think that's also in the end of August or something like that. This was all I had to show you for Ston. Hope you like what you saw. Hope you kind of decide for yourself if you want to walk the wall. As I said, you need to be in a relatively good shape. Otherwise, you can take the small part from the outer fortress and go back to the entrance. So just you have seen a little bit of the wall. You also just from the, I think it's the Mali Tower up here, you have a good view. You see the salt pans. So that might be enough for most people. The other one is relatively tough, but definitely interesting. Hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a like and also subscribe to the channel. Till the next one. Thank you very much.